Welcome everyone to another episode of Altered Attitudes. Thank you for coming on again. We thought we'd do a little piece on non-12-step recovery. So we've asked Paul and Lauren to come along. They work in a residential rehab that's non-12-step. So we thought we'd ask them to come and tell us all about it. But before we begin, welcome. But I'd just also like to start off with asking a little bit about your background and what kind of led you into to being involved in addiction treatment. Do you want to kick us off, Lauren?
Yeah, no problem. I work in recovery currently at the clinic. I'm the admissions lead there. I came up from Poole down in Dorset 6 years ago. That's where my journey started in recovery. And I progressed through my role through the duration of that time.
Oh, thank you. Brilliant. What's your background and what led you to this place?
Yeah, hard act to follow there, with Laurie. Yeah, my name's Paul. I'm 58 years young now. I know I look younger. I too work in the field, in at the clinic, doing a host of roles in the supporting element. Very proud of that, and also in recovery myself, and currently, without counting, 8 years without a drink or a substance inside me. And life's great. It's great.
Well done, Paul.
It's great. It's great, yeah. It's great. Yeah, wonderful life.
And so I guess for you that was kind of what led you into to wanting to work in the field and
yeah.
So maybe if you can even tell us, do you mind telling us a bit about your recovery and your journey?
Yeah. I mean, my journey at the beginning, it started when the rave scene kicked off. We all thought it was a great bundle of fun. At the time, obviously, social Britain back in the late 80s was all based upon, beer and a lot of football violence. But, when the rave scene kicked off and all of a sudden people are putting the alcohol down and turn into this new thing called ecstasy, for example, or amphetamine-based drugs, we were, me and some friends and, that's what floated our boat at the time. I didn't realise, though, when I look at the time frame, that from first picking up a Class A drug in 1988 to actually putting them down in 2017 was going to take a staggering 29 years and live to tell the tale. That's when I got the bug, and I mean the good bug. There's got to be a better way, and my thinking at the time was, let's help those individuals not to do and stay out there for as long as I did from beginning to end, because the harm and damages I caused in that journey were horrendous. So that's where that passion almost became another addiction, but a healthy one. And it serves me well because I'm very passionate about it, helping others, especially as I'm 59 next month, but I thoroughly enjoy what I don't enjoy. I love what I do.
Do you think that, because like you're saying there, that you sort of started off in the rave scene, which is probably more drugs and I think no alcohol really, weren't it?
Yeah. I mean, you just, well, I don't want to glorify things too much, but, things were of a different quality back in those days. So, alcohol was seen as like, non de rigueur, you just didn't drink, you took your speed or your ecstasy and you carried your water, and that's the thing, for me, I suppose that personality that was within me, because up until that period of my life, I was about 22 years of age, I used to drink like a normal person, I didn't.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm sure the accent gives it away.
What's a normal person drink like
yeah,
that?
Exactly. Yeah, what's a normal person
like a Viking.
Yeah, like a Viking, No, I didn't have issues, but I'll be honest with you, and I shouldn't laugh, but it's the laughing at the insanity of it all. Is that when I did take a substance, the reaction within me was just sent me spiraling to wherever, and in honesty, as much as I would say that I'm not going to do this substance and I'm not willing to try this, and I think that's disgusting, and well, unfortunately, that's the way I ended. They talk about the gateway, and for me, the amphetamine-based use then led me through the gateway and onwards into, cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin, the abuse of benzodiazepine and other things, and more or less tried everything along the way. Some things I didn't like that didn't suit me, and some things I just couldn't stop using. And then only when I tried to get help in 1999, it seems like an eternity ago now, a little place in Birmingham, a little clinic, and as I put the drugs down, I then wondered why I was drinking 3 bottles of red wine every day before dinner time. But I rationalised it because alcohol's legal, and people say, "Oh, well, at last he's off the drugs," and I'd be absolutely leathered on the vino and the beer, but it was okay, And I used to get that inebriated, I suppose, and that really I couldn't wait to get back on the drugs, as daft as that sounds. And then that's how it stayed. Then that's how it stayed for another, that cesspit combination of a cesspit going round at the speed of a centrifuge with both drink and drugs in me, constantly turning and churning the two and just running riot with it.
You sort of back on the drugs to try and sort of manage the
alcohol.
The alcohol.
Yeah. As ridiculous as it sounds.
Yeah, no, I think people sort of underestimate alcohol, don't they?
Well, whoever trod the grape back, so many thousand years before, BC, didn't realise what they were about to cause, because I found, the damage that alcohol did, especially once it's got the physical grip on you. The delirium tremens and the nausea and the vomiting and the sticky eyes and just not being able to walk and that's in withdrawal. So important people understand this.
I think the thing with alcohol is again, sort of being an alcoholic myself over the years, it's like, and you realise that for some people it's not, for quite a lot of people it's not a problem. It's kind of a good thing, really, a way of relaxing in life. And so I think the majority of the people can drink sort of safely. I'm not one of them, so I'm more abstinent, so it's best to stay away from it. But you sort of feel that society's trying to do that with the drugs as well at the moment. But you being someone that was trying to manage the alcohol with drugs, did you have the same thing, trying to manage the drugs with the alcohol?
Yeah, well, that's how it.
Because I think people do that, don't they?
I went on the Class A journey back in the in the late 80s, and then sort of I would have a drink, but it was never part of an active addiction armoury. It's only when I tried putting the drugs down did the alcohol become part of the armoury. So I was using alcohol to manage the drug addiction, and then using the drugs again to manage the alcohol addiction, then giving up the ghost on everything and just doing the whole lot together. Yeah. And that was totally painful, because I was never not using. If I didn't have a substance in me, I had alcohol in the system. And we're not talking a couple of cans. It was, my drinking wasn't red wine at the end. It was these fruitless chemical-based ciders. I've never seen an apple in their lives. White frightening, frosty crack. Never seen a bloody apple in their lives. Or the only time that gets close to an apple is when the lorry carrying the barrels goes past an orchard. Horrendous stuff. But that's my truth.
Did you have like any sort of addiction in your family that you're aware of?
I'd like to say yes to that, but no. But but it's interesting, and something we were speaking about earlier. I think the one thing I need to start thinking about is when I did start putting chemicals in me, and that was aged about 11, 12, 13 when I started smoking. You know, I think we need to remember that, you know, it's nicotine, you know, vaping, nicotine, it's all addiction. I'm not suggesting at a minute that someone on a vape is going to end up on crack and heroin. I'm not suggesting that. But, you know, for people with the condition type thing, you know, and you see them with these vapes that look like nuclear missiles and clouds and billowing vape everywhere, it's just... But to me now, it's not when I first took an amphetamine-based drug, it's when I started smoking. That's when I actually realised now that beast could have been unleashed. Because I was 13 years of age. There weren't many of us at school that, you know, took up the dirty habit, you know.
Behind the bike shed.
Behind the bike shed. You're not wrong. You know,
What
it was a
happened behind
bike
the
shed.
bike shed?
Yeah, no bikes there at my school because they'd all been nicked. But I mean, it was definitely a bike shed, you know. But yeah, you know, having done look back on a lot of things, I often think, you know, where did it start? And I don't think it started in 1988. I think it started well before that. You know?
Well, I don't know your views on addiction, but I kind of strong believer that it's a symptom. It's not really a problem. It just gives you something that you're lacking, and you discover it. Because, you know, when we used to run the rehab, used to do groups. You say to people, "Oh, why did you start using?" And everyone's like, "Oh, you know, I got molested. My mum left home. I'm gay. I'm straight. I'm black. I'm white. I got bullied." It's like, no. When did you start using? They're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what started you drinking?" Well, everyone did it.
Yeah.
Well, it weren't that reason you said, was it?
No.
Why did you say that reason? It's like, when did you first say that? And it's like, well, when it got out of control and someone asked me, why are you doing it? That comes to my mind.
Well,
but again, I think I kind of look at it like an allergy. So it's kind of like, some people have it, some people don't. But I think they're realising this in America with the opiate crisis that's coming into England. Because the doctors have been spreading it, a lot of people are taking opiates that normally wouldn't. And it's firing that addiction up in them. And so I kind of like that idea that it's like a peanut allergy. But because in our culture, we get introduced to it all. And then it triggers something in us, because you probably had mates who are like, oh, screw that, I don't like that.
Absolutely. I've often thought that. I mean, you know, like I said, you know, when I was at school, I mean, I was born in 1965. You know, I was born in the same year Winston Churchill died. You know, I'm a year off 60. You know, and you know, but smoking was prevalent in the world in them days. There was none of the. Yes, there was the labelling, but you know, I mean, I remember being about a 12-year-old and going to the local shop, and you could buy one for 5p. You know, a single fag. I mean,
as long as it was for your mum.
Oh, it was from my mum.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh, I used to nick my mum's and then use my pocket money to go and buy the single. We were all at it, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, the funny thing is, it changed the way I felt. It did change the way I felt. Those early days on nicotine was getting that nicotine high and stuff like that, and you know. And then I tried a little bit of glue. I didn't become an avid glue sniffer.
There was a glue. Everyone was sniffing
Everyone
the glue.
was on the glue, you know, so I did a bit of glue. Then I used to love sitting down and having a whiff of the old man's lawnmower, you know, the petrol, you know. So I'd go through them mini phases. But I still smoke, but I am at the end of it. But I'm I'm vaping like it's going out of fashion. But my health is better, you know. My life is, my life's been great, you know. I'm in my 8th year without a drink, 8th year without any substance in my system. You know, I go to the gym. I'm not like addicted to it, but for the right reasons. I eat well, I sleep well. I look after my mum, who's 90 nearly. You know, I'm a good brother, a good uncle, good friend. You know, this lady next to me is like my sister. Or I could even say my daughter, you know.
I think she prefer that.
Probably do, yeah. And, you know, I have a wonderful career, you know, and I do. And when I say I literally have to pinch myself sometimes to think that I've managed to pack all this wonderful stuff in the time that, you know, that I've been able to finally get clean and sober and start living the life, and this is what I impart on people within my role and beyond. And beyond, you know, I don't just consign it to work. You know, if anyone needs help with something, there's an addict out there in every household. I'm adamant about that. Everyone knows someone who drinks too much. Everyone knows someone who, oh, he might be on, she might be on drugs. Well, you know, 10-year-olds buying vapes. It's just endless. And, you know, for those that work in the profession in, you know, 50, 100 years, you know, there's always going to be a job there. Because as long as the human race exists, there's going to be addiction, you know. But it's lovely to be in addiction now for the right reasons. The extrinsic motivation rather than the old me, grab. You know, helping people. You know, it makes me feel whole as an individual. You know, as a man. You know, as a human being. You know, I mean, I've only got to ask my mum that. You know, and I have the honour and privilege of looking after her. You know, as she is where she is in her life. You know, she's touching 19 February. Bless her. Tongue in cheek though, and I will say this because it baffles me. She still smokes. She's been on the fags 81 years, so there's.
Oh really?
Yeah. She won't give up, but she's not a heavy smoker, you know. But she won't. She won't. She'll have the odd glass of wine.
That's the trouble with things like smoking. It don't kill everyone.
Don't kill everyone.
You think it's you, innit?
Yeah,
It's the roll of the dice, isn't
it's
it?
a roll of the dice. But she's still. You know. But after 12 o'clock, she'll have about 5 fags in the morning. And then after 12 o'clock, no, you don't smoke until the next day. But it tickles me because, you know, how long have you been smoking for, Pam? Let me think, 81 years? A lot of people, what? You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
Worked for her.
it worked for her.
Yeah.
It
Well,
may
that's the
not
thing
work
when
for
you
me.
see the Prime Minister now, and he banning the smoking outside pubs and that.
Yeah, I saw something about that on the news the other day. Yeah, they're looking to put the smoking ban in other areas, aren't they?
Yeah. And again, I think it's the trouble with when you actually sort of work in addiction to that, you can sort of see it everywhere. And again, it's not good for you, a lot of it, but I think people get a bit fanatical about it, like with the drinking and
It's
stuff.
not
It's like, you
preventable,
know, I
is
can't
it?
drink and I don't want to smoke, but some people really enjoy it. And again,
Yeah.
when I started smoking, they said I had asthma, but I think I had anxiety. I think because my family was very dysfunctional and they were having a lot of problems when I was born. You know, they had a sick child. They weren't very good at coping anyway, and so I spent quite a lot of my first part of my life dealing with sick family members and going to like cancer hospitals and stuff like that. And I think my mum and dad were pretty unstable environment, so I had a lot of anxiety. And so I'd have these, what they called asthma attacks. But all I remember is at 9 years old, I was smoking a cigarette for the first time. It tasted bloody horrible. I remember that. It was bloody horrible, but I felt better.
Yeah.
I felt something change in me.
Yeah.
And all my mates was going, oh, that's too strong. So they said, we'll have to get you consulate then, the menthol ones. So I had to start smoking them a bit.
That's why I looked at Lauren then because she's sitting
I've
there
no
like
idea
that.
what you're talking
No idea what you're on about there, Lester.
They were
at
like
all.
menthol cigarettes. They weren't quite
right.
as strong
Yeah.
because the 10 number 6, they made me throat burn a bit. And but I honestly believe, looking back now, is that I remember I just couldn't wait to have a cigarette. Even school was so stressful.
Yeah.
That, just having a cigarette, I couldn't wait to get to that. And I think most people smoke for that reason, to manage anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's like just taking that away from everybody. It's not just something they just enjoy, going to a pub and having a cigarette. They're trying to manage their difficult lives. And I don't know if that's always calculated in that's important to people. And again, I believe that addiction doesn't go away; it goes somewhere else.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't know how many of that 80,000 you're going to save a year by stopping people actually doing it.
It's like hurdles, isn't it, Lester? You know, you could smoke in the pub. Now you can't smoke in the pub, so you go into the beer garden, so you jump over that hurdle. So you can't smoke in the beer garden, so you'll jump over the fence and go and smoke in the street then.
Yeah.
What they're going to do then, do what they do in the States and Canada, and can't smoke in public places. That's probably where it's going to happen. It's going to head, if I'm honest. I think you know, I remember being in Los Angeles back in 2001 and just had my meal, knowing I couldn't smoke in the restaurant, but no one told me I couldn't go for a fag outside, and having a police car pull up with these two burly black policemen.
Big, aren't
they? They were massive, man.
Yeah.
You know, what you doing, boy? You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking around and there's no one around. Yeah, you boy, you know. And I'm thinking, who are they talking to, boy, and all this type of stuff. Suddenly realised, what's that in your hand,
Well, when
boy?
you say I'm having a fag in America, that don't go down too well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, flipping. I'd have been back in the back of the car, and then they politely then realised that I wasn't local. I apologised and said, I thought it was I couldn't smoke in the restaurant. I said, no, man, you can't smoke outside either. You know, and I thought, whoa. You know, and that's when I first learnt that in the States and Canada you can't smoke in public.
Lauren, it'd be interesting to find your sort of path into recovery and what led you to where you are now.
Yeah, sure. So I'm in my 6th year of recovery currently.
Well done.
To be honest with you, Lester, it did take me a while to get to that point. I actually had 10 detoxes and rehab visits, if you like, in the end, yeah. Over a 10-year period, 9 to 10-year period. You know, looking back, because, you know, as we were saying earlier as well, weren't we, hindsight's great. Yeah. You know, I always thought, you know, it was about the physical dependency. It was about going in somewhere, having a detox, getting straight back into the same environment. And that, you know, evidently that wasn't working for me. And it wasn't until all of my consequences kind of caught up with me and my health deteriorated that I actually made a decision to actually come away from addiction long time. So what I did is I went into treatment for 6 months. I travelled halfway up the country to do that. And I say this all the time, Lester, like if somebody had said to me before I came up, you're never coming back. I'm from a very, you know, lovely family where everybody helps each other out all the time. I'm a mum. I've got a lovely mum, Nan. Nobody's in, you know, addiction. I was, you know, relatively stable upbringing. I mean, things had happened along the way, which we won't go into, but if somebody had said you're never coming back, I wouldn't have come up. Do you know what I mean? So I would have found that initially too overwhelming. So what I did is I made a commitment. Unbeknown to me, I was staying up, but I made a commitment initially for a 3-month rehab stay, which is what I did. And went through the detox process, and then made a commitment to stay for 6 months. And then after that, I went on to a supported living scheme, where I started my own journey. So I engaged in a lot of therapy sessions with somebody. The person that I saw was actually in recovery as well, and what that did for me is that everything that he would say to me became believable, because I knew at some point he had made those changes too. Do you know what I mean? I'd never listened to many people over the years. I thought, okay, but it became believable for me. So that kind of like transpired into what I wanted to do. I wanted to be that for somebody else. Like, I think when you've got that sort of lived experience, you know. That goes really hand in hand with the job, doesn't it? And, you know, so I started on my own journey to become a therapist, and I'm in my 3rd year now with humanistic person-centred therapy. I've also done a NLP life coaching course, which is about how I explain it, it's a bit more about, it's future focus. So it's like, what do we do moving forward? So it's all well and good, isn't it? Looking back, identifying triggers, associations, what went wrong,
Yeah.
the who, what, where,
Yeah.
when, and why. But actually, like it's also about how do I move forward with my life? What is that going to look like for me? What do I want it to look like? And what steps do I need to put in place to make that happen? And that's how I work with people at the clinic that I work at, and that I work with people privately as well. Because I think that's like, that can be missing sometimes, because we've got the addiction side of it, and then we've got recovery, and they're both very different, aren't they?
Well, I think
Yeah.
people even think recovery is just not using drugs or something, isn't it? But it's
Yeah.
not. It's so
No.
much more than that. It's
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like within addiction, so alcoholism or substance misuse, there's a structure and a routine within that, isn't there? You know, unhealthy or not, you know, you get up, you go and get your money, or what your ways and means, you get your drink, your drugs. You know, then you come into, say, a treatment centre, and that structure is then provided for you, isn't it? So, like, we provide people the timetable and say, right, 8 o'clock it's meds,
Yeah, yeah.
9 o'clock it's morning readings, 10 o'clock it's group,
Yeah.
11:30 is your counselling session, so you know what you've got to do. And then actually, when you leave that treatment facility, it's what's my structure going to look like? And that's where, you know, people can fall short as well, myself included over the years. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know who to turn to. You know what I wanted out of life, so that's what I'm passionate about, that bit.
Yeah.
I found that over the years, employing quite a few therapists, the person-centred ones, they often, you know, they had to move the goalposts a little bit, because I think they sort of realised that people in their early part of their journey needed a little bit more structure and a little bit more direction from other people. And I think people sometimes misunderstand that how important that at the beginning, because again, I was told it like this. I mean, I was in Canada, it was pretty hardcore, but they were like, a sick brain can't cure a sick brain. You got a sick brain, so you need to listen to someone else and take the cotton wool out your ears and stuff it in your mouth. It was kind of like that sort of thing. But again, it was all good advice, because it was saying, look, you know, I was very emotional, very reactive, and having them people that had gone before me that could give me guidance, and like you say, is when you be able to listen to someone else. And I think especially in the early part of my recovery, them people were, it was again being able to use their brains to help me figure out what's best for me was so important, and just being that little bit more directive.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I was one of those people where I had to be told, right, this is what you need to do. Do you know what? Sometimes people's lives depend on that. Do you know what I mean? People don't know how they feel initially. People don't know what they want to do. People don't know, like, what they want to do next week. Do you know what I mean? Today, let alone next week, or, you know, 1 to 5 year plan. That is, you know. So, no, I completely agree with what you said just there. Sometimes it is sort of... you know, it's working with people to create something, isn't it, that's achievable and realistic to stick to week in, week out. You know, like I like to think when people come into recovery that everybody's end goal is to stay clean and sober. You know, but all the little goals and the means goals, I call them, in between may differ. So, you know, what one person likes doing, somebody else doesn't, you know, and it's finding what works for you and having that balance, isn't it, with your emotional, your physical and your spiritual, cognitive needs.
Yeah, because I think you want to get on with your life. Like I think you're saying there, Paul, is that you know, it's a strange thing, but it's like my sister died when I was about 15 years into recovery, and we was round her bed when she died, and I never felt anything like that. My family all descended into this dark place, and the first thought that come in my head was, so glad I don't drink, because I could almost see myself coming through that door, making it all about me. And instead I could be like you said, I could be there, I could be the man I wanted to be, instead of this other thing that I hated, and realising that in life that I can be the person that I want to be, rather than just an alcoholic who's causing everyone terrible trouble and pain, and doing things I don't even want to do.
It's really interesting, Lester, you said that, because I made a conscious decision earlier this year that I was going to give my mum some more mum time and get her out and about more. You know, I just felt that there's a lot we could do, and I just decided not to work for about 3 months, and you know, took my mum to the safari park and to the river Bewdley in Worcestershire, the River Severn, and fish and chips on the quayside, and
No, I
you
think
know,
that's lovely because you put your it's your priorities, wasn't it?
Yeah, you
So
know,
that's recovery. To me, that's recovery. That's step 9. That's what it's all about. Is giving back what you took from everybody else, especially if you've got children and that, because you've affected their development, and you've got to put back what you took from them, and nothing should be more pleasurable than that. That's the strange thing.
Exactly.
But
It's so rewarding, isn't it?
Should be.
Emotionally, like I get so much from doing things like that
Yeah.
than any financial gain from anything. Do you know what I mean? It's different, isn't it? There's a difference.
Again, that's what I think recovery is for me. It's not this thing of just not using drugs and drinking. It's this other stuff like that. It's getting your life back, rebuilding your relationships, repairing the arm. You know, developing as a person again.
Yeah.
You know, I think honestly, my theory is a lot of the suffering that people go through is because we're not evolving, and you're meant to evolve.
Yeah.
You're meant to evolve.
Naturally.
Yeah.
There's no stopping that.
No, and so we're talking even about nicotine and stuff like that. It's stunting your natural
Yeah, they're all
evolution.
hindrances, really, aren't they?
Yeah. Well,
Especially
again,
if
it's people get a lot of great relief from it, and we can't deny take that away from people. But it's a case of saying, look, what relief are you getting from that, and now can you transition to back on? Because nature's always going to be the better solution.
Yeah.
Natural development's going to be better for you, but that can be quite painful if you're underdeveloped, or you know, we often talk about the bridge. That there's this bridge that you've got to cross, which is
Bridge to normal living.
which is the redevelopment of your neural pathways. They need to bridge these gaps, but it takes time. And I love all the science now. Even on the internet, you can see neural pathways growing and connecting and making relationships inside our head. And you say to people, that's you. That's going on inside your head. I know you look in the mirror every day and you think that's you, but there's all this other stuff going on in your head. And the reason you're not doing so well, because you've got this gap, this separation. And so you've not got the ability to have a healthy relationship, or not get angry in that situation, or be fearful there. But if you close that gap by, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway, you usually close that gap.
That's
and
a book, isn't it?
Yes,
I've
once you
read it.
become familiar with it, then you've taken away the gap, you've made the connection, and now you're not afraid anymore. So it's these spaces that are under development. So
And you only get that through action, don't you?
only. Well,
There's no other way.
Right. Yeah.
no, it's the best way. I mean, we can get it through visualization. That's why NLP, I did NLP.
Yeah.
That's why they use that a lot of, re-anchoring and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
reframing.
you can. I use reframing all the time.
It's so good, isn't it?
All the time. But you can get people to actually just visualise, and your brain still will develop the capacity to.
And then you put it into practice.
But you're already halfway there because you've been. You've already been doing it. Once it actually connects naturally, you get stronger at it. You get better at it. But if it's fearful, people avoid it, and I think that's that's the shame about the people that don't understand what recovery is. They tend to start avoiding everything as a way of coping.
Avoidance.
Yeah, that's sad to me, because you end up in a very small life, and you're more than that. You can be more than that, but a lot of us just need that help. I think someone to, I think there is nothing equals somebody else that understands, giving you a hand up or being there with you while you're developing. I think we give a lot of support to each other. I never would have made it without people that I could phone up and encourage me and tell me to shut up and forgive them and give them their money back and stop trying to strangle them, whatever the case might be.
I'm nodding away. I'm looking at. I mean, it's fascinating. It's all, for me personally, where I am in my world, it's just wonderful to listen to. I surround myself, where I work. Two of the directors, they're instrumental in in my life, in different parts of it, particularly after the death of my father, when I was actually in treatment for the second time in 2017, and the one, it's just amazing. But surrounding myself and what I've known Lauren for probably 4 or 5 years, watching her grow into her where she is today, and just fascinated even listening to this stuff. I mean, I haven't followed that path. I just get on with things in my, because I'm mindful where I am in the world. But listening about the neural path, because I get fed up of listening to people saying, well, you'll be all right once you put the drink down. You'll be all right when you're not taking that rubbish. That's absolute nonsense, isn't it?
It's that's where the hard work begins.
So, that's where the work begins. And they look at you as though you've gone balmy, because again, Lester, it's still seen, and it's not, addiction is not a moral failing. The staggering drunk.
Not all of it.
Not all of it.
Some of it is.
Some of it is. But when I've seen on my journey, doing treatment with all sorts of kinds of people from all backgrounds, all races, all religions, all colours, or all sorts of people, professional, non-professional, Lester, socially, professionally, emotionally, physically, mentally, it's a passion.
Yeah.
It's a passion for me, and not just something that's going to take me to retirement. It's beyond that.
So what is it that you? Because again, we sort of wanted to make this about, and again we get to talk more about your facility. But for yourselves personally, what was it you'd say that was what you used to conquer the addiction? What was your journey that led you to be? What tools did you use to overcome? Because again, you obviously had quite a lot of struggles. Because I think how many rehabs you went to 10.
Yeah.
But people would say, well, that was a waste of time and money. But I don't think so. I think
wasn't,
each time builds up something to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've sat in groups for years. So I'd started going to, say, day groups when I was 23, 22, maybe, something like that. I eventually got clean and stayed clean at 31. I can remember, over those years meeting people, and I knew they were onto something, but the part I was missing was the application when I left.
Yeah.
Funny that. I thought something was just going to happen, I was going to be okay, but,
Yeah.
but it was I mean, again, like I said earlier, it wasn't just about going into a facility and, using the medical model, for example, just a detox, doing 7 days or 21 or whatever. So, that wasn't working for me. So like I said, it was doing something different. So it was, going into a treatment program, which was for a longer period of time.
You're both, even though it's non-12 step, it's abstinent.
Yeah. So for me, it was therapy, and I engaged in therapy for a 3-year period as well. I was blessed to work with somebody that had done extensive training over the years and was also in recovery. So I think that combination really worked for me.
When you say recovery?
The therapist that I saw was also in recovery. I think at the time he had 11, 12 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And extensive training with it. And everything that was spoken of to me was believable. Because he'd sort of been there, and I started to apply things and make the changes, and that's when my emotional development started. And I will always continue to do that as well. I think that's really important. But absolutely, it was a therapy model for me, transactional analysis to be specific, and NLP. That's where I got my learnings, that's where I got my understanding, and that's where things started to make sense for me. There's a range of modalities, isn't there? And my aim also is to train in multiple modalities.
That's why I like the NLP. It's just so many tools you can use, and I just love that neural, the brain linguistic language programming, because I think again that's such an integral. After this, we're going to do a little video on, because a lot of they're saying there's 500 children a day being referred into mental health services for anxiety. And again, I've suffered with that all my life. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of simple things that you can do, but again, changing the way you think, because that's quite hard for a lot of people to get their head around. That you feel what you think. So if you change your thinking, you'll change the way that you
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
Unless you got
And the
some,
way you behave as
yeah,
well, isn't
unless
it? If you don't
unless you got some
change-
mental problem or some imbalance. Mostly people just are not in control of their thoughts, which means they're not in control of their feelings, which means they're not in control of their actions.
Which
and
means
they're
you're going to get the same outcome.
yeah, they're just responding to the world instead of taking the responsibility for themselves. Their ability to respond is governed externally, not internally. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, especially children, not really develop that capacity to control their thoughts. And when they're in them environments, it almost becomes complex trauma because they're constantly being traumatized by their families. But even that, it's like it's ideal to change the environment, but the most important environment to change is the one between you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Because
that
it's not really what happens to you, it's the way you respond to it. But if you've not got the ability to respond to it, then you're kind of screwed. So it's like, can I get that ability to respond to this in a better way? And it's like, well, yeah, that's what therapy's about, that's what NLP's about, that's what recovery's about.
Yeah.
That's what having good, sensible friends are about. It's saying, look, this is a better way of dealing with that.
Absolutely, and that's what we incorporate in the clinic that we work at, actually. Even two of the directors are trained therapists, one's a psychotherapist as well, isn't he? That has private practice as well. So the program that we offer there is from a therapeutic approach, not 12-step.
Yeah.
And that is working for people. People appreciate that, and people are looking for that, and it's great that we are able to provide that. I mean, most of the staff team are trained or trainee therapists,
Yeah.
which again, massive difference to some rehabs.
Yeah, I think most rehabs start off with 12 steps and then add other things to it. I guess nobody's really got a problem what you want to do, but it's nice if a lot of people are unhappy with things that they, again, being a 12-stepper, I always feel it's deeply misunderstood that people get offended and things like that, and there's so many good things in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
That, but if they don't want to do it at the beginning, then there should be, even the 12-step itself said, look, we're not got a monopoly, we've just got a way that works. There's other ways, there's other things. Find one that suits you. If it doesn't work for you, we're here.
Yeah, I mean, like, to add into what you and Lauren are saying, that, the one thing I've had to learn the hard way is that every addict and alcoholic in the world has a driving, motivating factor, and I honestly believe that the therapy, the methods used at the clinic are more effective in getting to the nitty gritty of that driving force. Seen some remarkable turnarounds in people using that.
I guess you get all your same ups and downs as everyone else. You're ones that are not ready and they don't like that. I guess.
Yeah. I think that's common across the board, isn't it? Quite often, people can be pushed into recovery from the partner or the parent don't really want to be there.
Or even
I've been there.
I often worry about the therapy sometimes because I think people have an expectation to go straight back to their childhood almost automatically, and I think if people have got issues, they might not be.
Yeah, no, it's not always appropriate.
Even in sort of our rehab, you realise that when people meet the issue that they had, they'd often take off.
Yeah.
They weren't ready to deal with it. I guess that was kind of your experience to a degree,
100%,
wasn't it?
Yeah. You've got to be able to manage all of that. There's no way that we'd be open up deep traumas over a 28-day time frame. However, our approach is, it's a therapeutic approach, and it's the continuation of that, isn't it? It's a process. It's ongoing. It's not something that's going to be wrapped up in a 28-day stay. However, it's an amazing starting point, and we can continue that journey with you. Because we also offer aftercare. There's opportunity to maintain the relationship with the counsellor that you've been seeing in there. I think there's 4 of us that do it there. So you can have that continued support post-treatment. So what you start in the treatment, you can continue a year down the line if you like. You know, that opportunity and option's there for people.
And is that group therapy or just one-to-one therapy?
Both, actually. So there's the opportunity to have weekly sessions with a counsellor from the clinic. And we also offer an aftercare group, which is available for everybody that's come through the clinic, which we run weekly. I alternate the group with another colleague from the clinic, and we do that weekly.
Yeah.
And that's always good as well. It's great for people to build connections, as you well know. That's really important in recovery, isn't it? But also you need that one-to-one time as well.
Yeah. One of the things I like about that approach you're talking about as well, and again we find this even in like 12-step fellowship, that you meet a lot of people, and I was one of them, that have all kind of social phobias.
Yeah.
And so even like being in crowds made me feel very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And but I think you guys only take 6 clients at any one time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we only have a 6-bed capacity.
Yeah, so kind of like that, because again, I find group therapy is super important. I think it's one of the good things you get from rehab, one of the many good things, because you, especially with dysfunction concerned, because you get an opportunity to give feedback, get feedback.
Yeah.
And I think that I noticed over the years that was that's something you just don't get anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
The feedback from, you know, sort of the exit interview strategy, and it is, and you've just hit it on the head, both of you here. It's incredible. A 6-bed unit. The attention to detail is absolutely stunning, outstanding, and obviously the beautiful location where we are. And the fact it's like going into a very loving and caring house rather than a sort of like great big thing that says
Clinical.
You know, smell the Dettol as soon as you walk through the door, you know, certainly, you know, and it's a big thing. I mean, the last place I worked at, you know, 19-bed male-only unit, you know, everyone vying for the same attention.
Well, it becomes very peer-led, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, but this place is it's just like, you know, dare I be Hovis like and say it's home from home. And it is, and it is very endearing, and it's very caring.
Yeah, well, I think everything, that's the thing you sort of realise, isn't it? There's horses for courses,
Yeah.
so even the people that kind of do want to hide away, then going into a big place,
Yeah,
it kind of works for them in the longer run, and people that want a lot less, more personal.
Yeah.
That works good. It's like finding the right place, I think, for suits you. So it's nice to have,
yeah,
you know, I think all of the different options available to people that think this is what suits your personality better.
Yeah, a lot of people find it being such a small clinic really appealing. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
coming
it can
in.
freak other people out as well, can it?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I can understand the appeal of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was always quite a large place, and it was like mayhem. But I think again it worked. Some people, some of the time.
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
people on their journey, and they again, it's
you know, but you know, I did 2 treatments in a place where you are vying for that attention, that time, but the clinic, you know, they're given that attention and time. You know,
Because you have the time to give the person. You know, like when there's even if we've got, say, we're at maximum capacity of 6. Like we're able to sit with people in a one-to-one outside of any sort of arranged sessions and give people that time. I did it last night with somebody. Just sat in the lounge with them for 2 hours, and after he said, oh, I feel like I've just had a therapy session now. I thought, well, you have. It's just not called that right now. But we have that. We're able to have a lot of one-to-one interactions with people, and that's what people need, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, I think definitely I say this is that some people need a lot of treatment for a short period of time, but others need a lot of treatment for a long period of time. But everybody needs a lot of treatment.
Yeah.
Especially
for a
in
long
that.
period of time.
for a long period of time.
I think that's the ongoing bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I think, you know, you get the detox, which is crucial for a lot of people.
It's
But
stage 1,
that's
isn't
only
it?
like
yeah,
14
yeah.
days, 14 days.
Yeah.
But then it's what comes after that.
Yeah.
That's the real development bit. That's the important bit. That's kind of ongoing. It's like You know, again, I feel that 34 years later, I still have this condition, and I've never been here before. You know, things have happened in my life I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And even like we're talking about smoking, it's amazing. Probably once every 4 years, something can happen that I've not experienced that's distressing. It's amazing how that feeling of a fag still comes up.
Yeah.
Not
I
a
hear
drug.
that all the time.
But you don't get it
Yeah.
like where you're craving, but it's amazing that it even comes as an option.
Yeah, well, I
hear
think
it
like
all
we're
the
always
time.
susceptible
Yeah.
to it, aren't we? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Well, because I
Yeah.
think there's something triggers it that hasn't been triggered before,
Yeah.
and then I start to feel it, and because it's old, some of the old solutions kick in. Have a smoke, and it's like, well, no, hang on a minute, let's see what. Let's
Well, at least you're
start.
only going to cigarettes.
Well, let's start feeling it. Let's start feeling it.
Yeah.
You know. And I think that's kind of like the difference in it, that you learn to start feeling your emotions, but beyond,
Yeah.
you know, what you're eating in the fridge and other
Yeah.
things. But
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to feel everything again in this world, I
Yeah.
suppose. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just, you know.
Progress, not
Well,
perfection.
that's what I was looking for. Marathon and not a sprint. That was it. Yeah.
Slow and steady wins
Yeah.
the race.
And it's
Yeah.
not something you do on your own either, is it?
No,
I
no,
guess that's the
absolutely not.
thing. Even from the beginning. So
Yeah.
even in your centre, you say you've come in, you've done your, what do you do, 28 days, 2 weeks, 28 days?
So people come in anytime from 7 days up to 3 months, usually.
Yeah.
So obviously the 7 days is a typical length of an alcohol detox. Opiates, you're looking minimum 2 weeks.
So a little bit more, what would be the expected sort of like day for someone that come in your facility?
Okay, so you can expect to have your door knocked at 7 o'clock in the morning, so be ready. Yeah, so 7 o'clock sort of like standard wake up time, have a shower, come down. Like we like to encourage that morning routine. That's really important, isn't it? Being able to get yourself up, you know, get yourself motivated, get yourself downstairs, make yourself a coffee,
yeah.
or a cup of tea even. You know, have something. We're massive advocates for nutrition and health at the clinic as
Yeah.
well. So we have a really nice, diverse range of foods on offer every single day. So that's like your fresh fruits, juices, smoothies, yogurts and granola you can put together if you like. If not, we'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Some overnight oats, stuff like that. You know, we really encourage that. We don't force people into it, but, you know, we do encourage, like, you know, this actually may be something that you want to pursue when you come out of the clinic. So that's all on offer. So, you know, we encourage people to come downstairs and be ready for around 8 o'clock. In which case you'll then engage in the medication round. So you'll always be met by 2 really friendly staff members that will do that as well. Not Paul. No, I'm joking. Yeah, so then we'll do something called the morning reading group, which is recovery focused. So it'll be something to do around spiritual growth. I mean, like the equivalent to that would be like the daily spiritual readings for AA. It's like an equivalent to that. So that will be read out as a group, facilitated by somebody that works at the clinic, isn't it? So that'll be read out, then there'll be a group discussion around that. How does that apply to you? What do you think about that? Is that something that's missing from my life? That sort of thing. Then there'll be like another sort of short break, where you can go and have another coffee if you like. We do have caffeine in our clinic. Again, we do aim for people to moderate that, but we don't think it's realistic to eliminate completely, because what can happen is from previous experience of working in other rehabs and being in rehab, when people go on a visit, they're drinking the 2 or 3 double espresso coffees and then coming back.
Yeah.
You know, like that full restrictive.
Yeah. Climbing the walls. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So we do have caffeine at the clinic.
Yeah.
So then 10 o'clock you'll engage in your second group of the day, which is around sort of 10 o'clock to 11:30, and that will be with one of the counsellors at the clinic. So that'll run from 10 to 11:30. Then you'll have another short break before the medication round, where you're then served a really nutritious lunch from our chef,
Absolutely.
who has worked in 5-star restaurants up and down the country. the benefits of that for the staffers that we get to eat there, Leicester, as well.
Fab.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so again, a really healthy, nutritious meal was provided. When somebody comes in, I'll know any allergies or dietary requirements that you'll have initially from the assessment. However, our chef backs that up with a likes and dislikes conversation. So anything that you're not too keen on, if you just let him know, he won't do anything you do really like. He'll make sure that that's catered for and it's in the cupboard and it's available for you. Yeah, so then you'll have some allocated written work and stuff like that to get on with before you start the next group, which is an hour and a half to 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, with somebody with extensive training from the clinic, so that will run in the afternoon, and either before or after that group will be your allocated one-to-one session time with a counsellor, and you'll have 2 of those a week as well.
Yeah.
I also do holistic therapies in there, so like Reiki, Indian head massage, other massage treatments as well. That's part of an evening program that we have there. People really like that as well. You know, it's really relaxing and calming for the body and the mind. We also have a yoga teacher that comes in once a week, and access to a corporate gym, which is just a stone's throw up the road, which is not for everybody, but it is for most. So like we went up there last night, for example, 4 of us. You know, physical health is really important as well. It can be a massive motivator for wanting to eat well. You know, your endorphins are going, your dopamine's going, you're then more likely to do your written work at the clinic and stuff like that, or whatever it may be when you know you return back into your real life situation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we did statistics on that in our rehab, actually. The people that went to the gym, we think they were just probably more motivated, maybe individuals. But there was definitely a 19% greater completion rate for the people that went to the gym. It's quite a positive.
Yeah, I found...
mindset,
sorry, Lauren.
No, it's all right.
I found I've become not a gym bunny, because at my age I'm a gym rabbit, you know, and I found it quite.
Bunny.
Yeah, you're the bunny. I'm a gym hare
with a bit of Greg's mixed in.
That's it. Yeah, I don't know what you called an old hare now, an old rabbit, but I'm one of them. But and I have personal training, and it's changed me completely. You know, I sleep less. I am not as hungry as in wanting to consume. Well, I'll say that, but I've had 2 slices. Two big slices.
You didn't get to the gym today.
I won't be going. I'll be there for the rest of the week.
Mind you, that locally made cake is pretty good.
Well,
isn't
it might not be local, because it might be in the boot of my car.
You can take it with you.
Mum would like a slice of that, and probably Lauren would like the rest of the Devon cake anyway. But yeah, it's well, it's an old saying, isn't it? Healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah.
You know, and again at the clinic there, these things like the walking groups and getting trips out, and seeing the countryside and breathing in the fresh air, just like here, it's just beautiful. Doing a bit of unguided meditation around the
people
area.
like meditation's a great thing to learn, isn't it?
That goes a that's
long
part
way.
of the program as well.
I always like introducing people to meditation.
And grounding techniques. Absolutely.
Breathing
A
exercise.
lot of people just don't even
don't
breathe
know how to
properly.
breathe. No.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it's enriching not only the body, oxygenating the blood and all that type of thing. It's just great for the slowing down the washing machine, and bringing, and these are things that are available at the clinic, and things that me personally I tune into, and are just helping me nicely along my journey as well, which is lovely.
And I think because what we offer is a massive part of my life, my personal life. I eat really well, I train 5 days a week. My heart's in it. I'm really passionate about it, because that is my life. That's how I live my life. That is my recovery. So to be able to be with other people while they start their journey, it's amazing. I love it.
So I think that's what I wrote down, because again I hear it from both of you, is that I think when you actually come out of addiction but you don't find any meaning in something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's even why recovery itself can become, it gives you a new meaning.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to find something that you care about, that means more to you, that you're willing to work for, you're willing to sacrifice. So I think part of the human condition, that I think I was listening to a podcast where they're talking about Scotland and, the death rate's gone up another 12% this year. And, we've been talking about that for a lot of years. But again, I kind of agreed with what this guy was saying. He said because a lot of the problem in Scotland, a lot of their lives got destroyed, a lot of their industries got shut down, and they just lost a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
And I think when people, I think they've noticed it with the indigenous populations of like the Indians and that they turn to alcohol because you remove their meaning.
The purpose.
Yeah.
The purpose.
Like you look at how statistically, the alcohol consumption went through the roof in COVID because a lot of people had to start working from home, so they lost their social outlet as well as their purpose. You then sat at home. Alcohol's appealing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not seen as problematic initially because it's socially acceptable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you just go to the shop, buy a bottle of wine. The amount of people we've had come through the service where their drinking escalated through COVID, through what you were just saying.
Well, even the death rate's gone up. They reckon another 2,500 deaths this year in England in alcohol.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's because of the COVID. Well, I'm not so sure about that, but I'm sure it didn't help. But there's a lot of it's liver disease, and I don't think liver disease happens that quickly. I think.
No,
I
It's a
think
process than that.
It doesn't unless you're taking too much medication, and I think that's
that's a lethal combination, isn't it?
Yeah, especially a lot of people getting the ADHD diagnosis, and then the amphetamines,
Ritalin and all these
which
other
makes you drink twice as much.
Exactly.
On top of the medications, I think there's a lot more going on than they're actually getting their head around at the minute.
Yeah, I was reading an article about the use of Ritalin and alcohol consumption.
Increasing a lot,
massively.
Again, because I think it's people realise they've got a problem and they're giving them all these problems, but often then medicating it rather than saying, look, there is other ways of. A lot of the guys that come in and say I've got depression, it's like, you might be depressed, but I don't know whether that's depression. The truth is, mate, if we got the most healthiest people in our country and give them your lifestyle, they'd be depressed. So I think it's quite a healthy emotion. The fact you're depressed is quite a healthy emotion. It's just telling you need to change some things about your lifestyle, which again is like you've said about your centre. It's saying, look, these are things that will help improve the quality of your mental health,
it's a lifestyle
should
change
improve your life.
But I mean, when you've got the wonderful welcome, their own doctor, the specialists, the directors, Lauren and colleagues, and we're just all dedicated. We're just all dedicated to it. You can't help but be dedicated. It's a 6-bed unit where we pride ourselves on everything from appearance, everything. And the enrichment side, like Lauren says, with the holistic side, the enrichment side, getting people out and about, even take them shopping. Now, I can't remember when I was flat out going shopping. No. And it's things like, and they love it, going and seeing places, the fields, a river, a hill, when you've been blinded by the disease or the illness, whichever way you want to call it, for years and years, and all of a sudden, your eyes open and believe it or not, the skies are blue. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was almost turned back to childlike status. A conker tree would excite me. The apple tree over there is exciting me because there's pinchable apples on that tree.
It, can't you? Help yourself. Do you know what? I ain't had a chance to get all these apples. It's amazing how many apples come through.
There's a few pies on there.
I've got plums falling all on the floor over there. It's so sad to let them go. I just ain't had time to pick them. But yeah, I mean, I think that is the amazing thing to me, having them experiences that when your mind, because I believe like, addiction is a closed mind.
Yes.
I do. They call it an obsession, but I believe it's a closed mind, because under the brain scans you can see the brain going dark, it closing down, and it starts going dark.
Yeah.
And when it opens, it fills with light.
Yeah.
And I think we're all attracted to life.
Yes.
We're attracted to, so the more neural networks, then the more ability you should have, the more you should be able to enjoy your life. So I'm thinking that, you know, this brain closing down is really the problem. But when it opens up, and you start experiencing more life, and it's like that.
Yeah,
I've started to learn all of this stuff, being a very young person. That I started to realise I liked all these things that I never knew that I liked.
You put that
and
across really
and
well,
disliked things that I really don't like as well. But
you put that across really well. It's wonderful. They what did they say? What's the analogy? Mushroom bullshit, shedding grass. You know,
I don't know that one.
you leave a mushroom in a shed in a pile of shit, and but you know when it comes out into the light. I can't remember how it's. All of a sudden,
you're gonna have to work on that.
I'm gonna have to work on that one. Probably I am. Darkness and light. You know, I am gonna have to dig myself out this mushroom now at the moment, but. Please edit that for crying out loud, will it?
Well, I think the science is showing it. The living brain scans are just showing that. Look, if you're not a reasonably functioning human being, you're not. Your neural pathways are not working very well.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of us would say, look, if I don't learn to relax, we stress. But again, it's this closing of the brain. And then when we take a drink or a drug, it kind of fires up again. Yeah. And that's what makes it feel nice. So you're even saying when you first took a nicotine, it's because you're in this state and it made you go to that state. And our brain tags that. Yeah. That, hang on a minute. Yeah. I need to do that more often because that made me actually feel good. Yes. And that could be golf, it could be all kinds of things. I mean, it's nice if it's schoolwork and carpentry and more positive pursuits. But the trouble with drugs is it becomes too good.
Too good,
It fires us up too much, but we can't sustain it. Then we keep trying more to get it. To get it open, but if you're brain scanning someone, you'll see it going dark, light, light. And so for me, addiction is a closed mind and recovery is an open mind. Once you've got it open, then it's like, how can we develop it so that you can have the functions and live your dreams, that you can do the things that you want to do with your life, and then you'll be willing to feel bad in the pursuit of that, because that's one of the hardest things to try and get people to understand in addiction. Sometimes you feel bad, and that's normal, and you've got to feel bad to get through it. It's like, that's why I ain't got a six-pack. I don't like going down the gym, lifting weights for hours. It's like... But there's certain things in life that do feel uncomfortable, and it's okay. You don't have to be the end of the world. You don't have to change it. You can sit with it and it'll pass, or there are other things you can do that are a bit more positive, like go for a run or something.
Yeah, or talk to someone.
And again, I think 500 children a day being referred to mental health for anxiety, our society is backward. Yeah. Them children need to learn to meditate. They need some of them treatments you're talking about. Because imagine if they were doing that, they wouldn't be 500 a day being... They don't understand what's going on in their heads, and no one's telling them. What are they going to do? Drug most of them up? It's pretty sad state of affairs, really. But anyway, look, appreciate you coming, and
thank you.
We're going to add some photographs and videos of your facility, and at the end of the podcast there'll be a so people can see what it looks like, and they can talk to us if they want to be able to refer there. But I really appreciate you coming all this way. It's been great talking to you.